G'day everybody, welcome back to the channel. Okay, so we're going to start, I'm going to start a new facet of an Aussie audiophile, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about some of the records that I'm coming across and talk to you about how they sound in my system, give you my thoughts about the positives, the negatives, the whatever happened to be the my findings in relation to some of these records that I'm coming across. Now, first thing I need to do is thank Travis, a very good friend of mine, who has lent me this particular record, my very first album review or record review. I then want to talk to you about the signal chain, give you the explanation around what my equipment is and what I'm listening to these records on to judge them. And then walk you through that aspect of things and then talk to you a little bit about this very first album. So let's start with the turntable. So my turntable is a Kuzma Star-BR. It has a Stoggy reference 9-inch arm on it with the sapphire bearing upgrade and the Cardus clear wire upgrade. So it's about as pimped out as a Stoggy reference arm can get. The cartridge I'm using is a Lyra Etna SL. That is then heading down and going into a RCM Feria, which is the phono preamplifier that I'm using. So I go into that. Now on the wiring for the Stoggy reference, I have a breakout box, a Cardus breakout box that sits underneath the turntable. So I plug my RCA cables to the breakout box, and I'm using the Robinson Elite RCA cables. So they are a pure silver wire in a Teflon tube, and they go down that particular that set of RCA cables goes down and into the input of the RCM Feria phono preamp, and then I come out of that in a balanced format because the preamplifier is a balanced topology. So by the time after that signal goes in, it literally is a balanced signal from that point on all the way through to the output. So you can pick either single-ended or balanced output. I come out of it with a set of Robinson Elite XLR cables, and they head over to Vitus SL101 preamplifier, and then off to the power amps and out to the Wilson speakers. So that is the signal chain that you've been listening to these records I've been playing and doing shorts on the channel with, and so that gives you an explanation of the signal path. The album that I've been doing quite a few shorts of lately is this album right here. So this is the UHQR version of Aja from Steely Dan. So this has been quite a revelation to me because I have heard quite a few versions of this album over the years, first pressing versions of it, and reissues and so on and so forth down the track, and so hearing this for the first time, and again this album belongs to my friend Travis, and he's lent it to me to have a good listen to and evaluate, and I'm absolutely very, very impressed with this album. I'm very impressed with the UHQR version of this album. It, as far as I'm concerned, is the best version of Aja that I've heard, and I just love what these guys are doing. The packaging is stunning. It's still wrapped in its plastic shrink wrap, obviously, because that's the way that Travis likes to keep things, and so I'm certainly not going to muck around with that. But it is lovely, and then it has I think you can see that there. It's got like a timber frame, and that is made out of timber, as you can see there. So if we pull the outer cover off, we're left with this inner has the timber the timber spine to it. And then when we start looking in here, you get quite a bit of information. So you get the obviously the album art. Now this is a beautiful tip-on jacket, just stunning quality. Obviously the records do not fit in here. This is just essentially a copy of the album cover as such. Beautiful. You can see the reflections, you know, in my hand here, and it really is a beautiful cover. You know, on the back you've got the you know, the tracks that are on this particular album. And then inside, obviously, you've got you know, all of the you know, all the relevant information, you know, from this album is all in here, and this is, you know, stunning quality, really good quality. The next thing you find in here is some literature about UHQR are doing their processes. You know, essentially it's advertisement, but it's useful stuff. It's really interesting to read this and actually you know, understand what exactly it is that they are doing. Also in here, it just keeps on coming, we have this is the lyrics. So this is a lyric page. It has all of the lyrics for the tracks on its own separate page. You also get this, which is really interesting. As an ex-sound engineer, it's nice to see this kind of stuff. And in here we have pictures of the original Ampex master tape that this album was taken from. So I just love the detail here. I love the information that is in this compendium of documents. It really is, you know, top shelf stuff. You've also got some more information here about what Acoustic Sounds are producing, their catalog. You know, it is, you know, a double paged arrangement. It's you know, it shows you everything that's going on, that they're doing for back catalogue, for things you might want that you can go out and search for. And then it just keeps coming, folks. Here is this is again some more advertisement. This is essentially a certificate of authenticity, I guess, that talks about the amount of records that are going to be produced for this, and gives you that, you know, all of that information in the leaflet. You know, this stuff's great. You can be sitting here listening to the album and going through this and reading it. So there's just tons and tons of information here. Then of course you've got the albums. So they're using 200 gram clarity vinyl, which is what UHQR are using here. As you can see, you know, it is a sight to behold. It is very heavy, very thick vinyl. You know, it's a beautiful deep groove, and that comes out in essentially in what you're hearing. This just it is a stunning reproduction or capture of this album. So obviously two albums there, and that is essentially what you have here. So it's a beautiful presentation. It's a beautiful package. It is, you know, it really, they go all out to give you a real experience around what you're listening to on your stereo system. Now let's talk a little bit about how I found it. I'm not sure what was coming through on the videos. I hope. I've been getting some wonderful comments from you guys, and I love hearing from you. So by all means, please, if you feel like you want to say something, say it. I do my very best to answer everybody. I read everything that comes into the channel. So know that I'm not ignoring anybody. I read everything that is sent. If you take the time to send me a message, I will take the time to the best of my ability. And at this point, I'm still able to do that. And that is to reply to you. Or thank you, or agree with you, or whatever the case may be. But you know, the sense of dynamicness in relation to this pressing is better than anything I've ever heard, or any other version of it I've ever heard. Other versions I've heard, first pressing versions of this and subsequent reissues, have a sense of politeness about them. And some people will love that, and they'll just like the whole thing sort of staying in its lane. But what UHQR have done is they've really created something that sounds to me like master tape. It has a real sense of dynamic pace about it. The vinyl is just super quiet. It tracks very cleanly. Any of these UHQR releases are generally going to be like that, because they're using this clarity vinyl, and it is really, very quiet, very little surface noise, and amazing dynamics, as I said. So, when something really gets loud, it gets loud. It just doesn't feel and sound like there's any compression going on here at all. When they say they're getting this information off the original Ampex master tapes, I just believe it, because there's that real sense of pace and dynamic swing, and that gets your attention. Mid-range is stunningly good. Everything's beautifully placed across the soundstage in the pressing. Fagan's voice just comes right at you out of the center. Walter's guitar work is certainly placed to a side, wherever it might be. There's real air around the presentation, and just a stunning musical ride. And that's what I found really enjoyable about this UHQR version of Aja. It really does have that sense of aliveness about it that I've not heard in any other version of it. It just, they really have nailed it. It's the best version I've ever heard. I certainly will be now tracking down a copy of this for myself. I definitely want it, because it's just that good. So if you have this, then you would obviously probably be concurring with my findings here. And if you are seeking it, hang off a little bit till I get one first. No, not at all. We're all in this first in, best dress, so to speak, and there's 30,000 of these that were produced, and that's it. So hopefully there's enough for Steely Dan fans who are very much looking to have this in their collection. They'll get an opportunity to in fact get a copy of it. I certainly will be looking. It's been an absolute thumbs up from me. I absolutely think this is great. Everything about the presentation is fantastic. Sonically, it is the best version of it that I have heard. And there's nothing, if you like, polite about it. It really gives you that sense as if you're there when this album was being created. And that's hard to do. I know it comes down, a lot of it, to reproduction and the ability you have with your system to reproduce what's the information that's on that album. But when you put something that's been pressed and cut to that quality on your turntable, you hear that sonically in the reproduction, and it will be a step above the next record you might put on. And that's how I found it. It just had an ability to leap out in front of you when that was the case. It also had the ability to sit back in the soundstage when that was the case. There was just an aliveness, a real sense of being there. That's the best way to describe it in how I found this album. I really did enjoy it. It's a great album to give you my first album review / thoughts on. Go out and get it if you haven't. It's something you should have in your collection for sure. Everybody talks about having first pressings of everything, and there's definitely merit in having that in most cases. But what UHQR are doing is lifting the bar. Certainly with this album, I can certainly absolutely categorically say it is has been a real lifting of the bar from anything else I've heard, and I think that's coming across in the shorts that I've been doing. You guys have been loving it, so you're obviously hearing what I'm hearing. But just imagine 30 or 40% more realism, more dynamic push, more aliveness in the presentation, and that's what it's like sitting in my chair over there and actually experiencing this in the room. So thumbs up from me. Great album. I won't waffle on too much more other than to say that, if you've got any questions, please leave them below. Love hearing from you guys. But this one's definitely a thumbs up from me. It's a great album and absolutely worth hunting out and trying to get if you can. I certainly will be. So until we talk again, it's bye for now.